Hello everyone, this is Venkat. So this is Tableau series 2. So so let's so uh if you need training, so you can contact me on this number. Okay. So so this is Tableau series 2. In the Tableau series 1, we have discussed about just basics of a Tableau, just basics of Tableau. Okay. So for topics like so just come to Tableau plus SQL part and just click on the topics button. Okay. So just give me a second. Okay. Okay. So so we have discussed about Tableau basics here. So in the Tableau basics one, you can directly find that video link in YouTube, or you can click on this watch Tableau series one. It will be taking you to the YouTube actually. Okay. So we have discussed about what are other BI tools and Tableau revision history, and what are the Tableau tools we have, what are the free tools we have, and what are the licensed tools we have. Okay, and how to download the tools from here. Okay, you can simply click on these symbols and you can go download the any tool like Tableau tools. Okay, so in this session, the next part will be like about database and data sources. But as of for now, I'm skipping this topic. Why? Because while discussing the other topics, we can cover this topic actually. So no need to spend separate time for this particular topic. Okay. So now let's go to the Tableau introduction here. Okay. So okay. So first we will see why do we use Tableau. Okay. So why do we use Tableau actually? So we use Tableau to aggregate the data. Okay, so we use Tableau to aggregate the non-aggregated data. Okay, like this. So we use Tableau to aggregate the non-aggregated data. So non-aggregated data, sometimes also called row level data, or disaggregated data, or transactional data. Okay, so let me explain you the definition one more time. So we use Tableau. Okay, we use Tableau to aggregate the non-aggregated data. Okay, so we use Tableau to aggregate the non-aggregated data. So non-aggregated data also called sometimes row level data or disaggregated data. Now, where do we, so now, like what is the need of aggregating the data actually? So why we have to aggregate the data? Okay, it is very simple. If you want to analyze, right, if you want to analyze the data, then we can aggregate the disaggregate, we have to aggregate the data. Okay, so mainly to analyze the data. To analyze the data, we have to aggregate the data first. Okay. So if we want to analyze the data, first we have to aggregate the data, then we have to visualize the data. Once we aggregate the data, then we can visualize the data. So after that, from this, we can analyze the data. Okay, let me tell you a simple example why there is a need to analyze the data. So let's take a simple Excel file here. So we are discussing about aggregation and non-aggregated data, right? So let's see what is the meaning of data here. Okay. So for example, assume that I'm just taking a blank Excel file here. So assume that here, for example, Amazon company. Okay. So you know Amazon what? Amazon and Flipkart and all those, right? So for example, assume that Amazon is selling different products, right? So Amazon is selling products to different customers. Okay. And they will get some sales on daily and they will get some profits also, right? So for example, assume that a customer like customer A is there, he is buying some product like phones, mobile phone or iPhone. He bought some iPhone from the Amazon app, and this iPhone is costing around 80,000, for example. Okay, and in this 80,000, Amazon is getting 10,000 profit. I'm just assuming that. Okay, it is getting 10,000 profit, and there is a person B is there. or person A. Maybe we can have person A also. So the person A got one more product from the Amazon, like for example, headphones. Okay, so this headphones is costing about like 400 rupees. Okay, and in this 400, Amazon is getting a profit of like 100 rupees. Okay, so like that. So it is like we have customer B, we have customer C, like there we have so many customers are there. So just take one customer here. So for example, so Amazon have this type of customers actually. So like Amazon has more number of customers, and everyone is buying some products here. So each product is having particular sale value, and on the sale value, the Amazon is getting a particular profit here. Now there is a CEO is there, Amazon CEO is there. So Amazon CEO want to analyze this data actually. So now what type of analysis he want to do? Okay, I'm just telling you a simple example. What type of analysis he want to do actually? So he want to do what is the total sales actually? Okay, what is the total sales? So this is one question. So what is total sales actually? So don't bother about customers or products here. Just to go for a sales here. So 80,000 plus 400, 4,400. So like it is total sales is 80,400. Okay. So this is the total sales. So Amazon CEO is interested in not individual sales. He is interested in total sales only. So as a for example, I have taken only two rows here. Okay, so this is the first row and this is the second row. But in real time, we may have 1 lakh records, 10 lakh records also. Okay. Now Amazon CEO is interested in what is the total sales and what is the total profit actually. Okay, so this is called analyzing the data. So to analyze this data, first we have to aggregate the data actually. Okay, let's see what is the other requirements he will be having. What is the total profit? What is the total profit for Amazon company? So how to find out the total profit actually? So this is the first row. If you go to profit column, in the profit column we have two rows. This is 10,000 and 100. So what is the total profit is 10,000 plus 100. Okay, so it is summing up to, for example, if you select these two, I can see total here. Okay, I can see a 10,100. So this is the total profit for Amazon company, like that. So he want to do this type of analysis. What is the total sales? What is the total profit? And what are the total customers actually? How many customers we have? Like that. So if you want to analyze this type of, if you want to analyze the data like this, first we have to aggregate the data. So this is called aggregated data. 80,000 is aggregated data. 10,000 is aggregated data. So how we are getting this 80,400 total sales means I have to sum up these 80,000 plus 400. So if you go to sales column, in this sales column, I have two rows. I have to sum these two rows like 80,000 plus 400. So how I am getting this total sales is by doing the summation of these two rows. Okay, in that way, I'm getting 80,400. So this summation is called aggregation. Okay, so this summation is called aggregation. Okay, so if you want to do the aggregation, right? So we can use a tool like Tableau. Okay, so similarly, if I go to profit column, in the profit column, I have two rows, for example. But if you come to real time, we have so many rows. So how many rows we have, that is not important. What we are doing is important. Okay, so if you go to profit column, in the profit column, I have two rows, 10,000 plus 100, which is summing up to 10,100. So this is called aggregation. How we are doing the aggregation? So we are summing up row 1 plus row 2 plus row 3 plus up to so on. So doing summation is called aggregation, one type of aggregation. Okay. So how to do this aggregation in how we can do this aggregation in Tableau and others we can see. Okay. So for example, let's copy this data. Just Control C. Now go to Tableau. Let's take a new Tableau here. See, we will, as of now, we'll see how to copy and paste the data in Tableau. So you can select all these cells and just do Control V and go to Tableau. Okay. Just wait for a second. It will come up actually. Okay. Okay. This is new file. So when you open Tableau, right? When you open Tableau, this is the page you are going to see. Okay. Now in this page, what you do is just click on this symbol actually. Okay. So when you click on this symbol, it will be navigating to this page here. So now we are in the sheet one in the Tableau. Now what I will do is click somewhere in the Tableau sheet here. Just do Control V. Just do Control V. Just paste your data here. So in Tableau, we can directly copy and paste the data in Tableau in this way. Okay, but it is not a perfect method, but we have some different methods will be there. We'll do that later. Okay. Now you see, once you copy the data in the Tableau, on the right side you can see the data here. Okay, on the right side you can see data here. In this data, what we will be having is we will have all the columns like customer name, products, profit and sales. So whatever the columns we have in the Excel, all those are copied to Tableau here. Okay. Now in the sheet itself, it is directly showing data here. What is the data we have in the Excel? That is showing all the data here. But what is our requirement is just clear this sheet. Okay, just click on this symbol. It will clear the sheet actually. So just click on this symbol. Now I want to find out the total sales, right? So what I'll do simply is simply drag the sales into text here. Now it is giving total sales. You see what is the Tableau is doing here. When you drag the sales into text here, it is automatically doing the summation here. So it will do summation of all the rows in that particular sales column. Okay. So what it will do, it automatically do the summation of all rows in the sales column. So sum means it is doing summation of all the rows in the sales column actually. Similarly, if you double click on the profit here, now you see the profit is 10,100. Now you see what is happening. When you double click on this profit, this is coming into sheet here. So which is automatically doing summation here. So Tableau automatically do the aggregation using sum function. So it will automatically do the summation. Now the total summation is 10,000 here. Okay. So this is called aggregation. Okay. So doing summation is, for example, a one aggregation. Okay. Now okay. So now let me take, so this is about sales data. So we have different data in real time actually. Okay. We have different types of data in real time. So for example, if I go to Tableau introduction, so, okay, just give me, okay. So see, if you click on this domain of data we worked on, so if you go, we have sales domain. Sales domain means we will be having, like, for example, Amazon is doing some sales, right? So that is sales data. Manufacturing domain will be there. For example, if you take Redmi mobiles or Samsung or Sony, all these are manufacturing domains. So similarly, we have healthcare domain. So in each domain, we will be having different type of data. So if we take education, we also have educational institutions, right? So educational institutions also have student data. Okay. So we have different types of data for analyzing. Okay. So based on your client, you will be given some different types of data. Okay. Now, for example, for this scenario, we will take one more sample data and we'll see how to aggregate that data. So for this example, I'm just taking educational business. Okay. So when I take education, what is the type of data we have? We have student information. We have student data. Okay. So let's go to Excel file here. Now let's go to sheet 2. In the sheet 1, we have this information. And in the Excel, go to sheet 2. 1 second. Okay, so now go to sheet 2. In the Excel, I'm just taking now sample student data here. Okay, so for example, in general, if you take any student, there will be having roll numbers. Okay, a student may have roll number, and we have student name here, and each student will be having subjects, right? So and so if you take engineering, we will be having internal marks 1, internal marks 2, external marks, pass and fail, right? So we have that type of data. So okay, so instead of writing here, what I will do is I'll go to my tab, my website here. So I will copy the data here. Okay, so this is the student data we have. So let me explain what is this data. So I have a student Venkat is there. So Venkat is having a roll number 1 here. Okay, so in row 2 also we have Venkat only. In row 3 also we have Venkat only. In row 4 also we have Venkat only. So why this person is having in these many rows means in the first row this Venkata has written subject 1. In the subject 1 he got some internal marks 1 and internal marks 2 here, and it is the external marks information. And if you see the last column, it is telling about whether this person got pass or failed here. So if you see he got 60 marks in the external exam, so he got pass actually. Now the same person in the second row we have S2 subject. And so these are the S2 subject internal marks, and this is the external marks information. So as of now, concentrate on the external marks only. We will discuss about internal marks a bit later. Okay. So okay, let me delete into everything. Okay. So take Venkat here. In the subject 1, he got 60 external marks. And the same Venkat in the second row, he written a S2 exam. In the subject 2, he got 70 marks. He got pass actually. In the two subjects, he got passed. So in the third row, he having S3 subject and he got 30 marks. 30 marks means he failed actually. And in the fourth row, he will be having, so as he failed the S3 subject again, so he's writing the subject again one more time here. Okay, he's writing the subject one more time here. In this time, he got 60 marks. So he got pass actually. Okay, so Venkat is repeating in 4 rows here. Each row is having different information or different data. Like subject is different, marks is different, like that. Now, if you take like Venkat, we have Ravi is there. He is repeating in 2 rows here. For each row, he has subject 1. In row 2, he has subject 2. He got 50 marks in the subject 1 and he passed it. He passed it actually. In the subject 2, he got 55 marks and he passed actually. Now, we have one more student called Rajesh here. He written only S2 subject only. He did not write S1 and S2, S1 and S3 like that. So just take some sample data only. So in the S2 subject, he got 52 marks and he passed actually. So this is called row level data. Okay, why? Because so assume that this is the data which is coming from the Excel sheet. So assume that this is the data we have in the Excel sheet. So whatever the data we have in the Excel sheet, that is called a row level data. So I will explain a bit later. See, Excel is one data source actually. We can use Excel as a data source or database. So why do we use databases or data sources means if you want to store any information, we will have to use either data sources or databases. Like Excel is one type of data source which will store the data. CSV files is one type of data source which will store the data. Like Excel and CSV files, we have databases also like MySQL, SQL Server, Oracle database, and Google BigQuery. All these are databases or data sources which will store the information or which will store the data actually. Okay, so now let's see what is the, so we already discussed it, right? Like sorry. So whatever the data which is coming from the database, whatever the data we have in the database or data source is called a row level data or aggregated data. Row level data or non-aggregated data. So we can say it is a row level data. Why? Because each person is repeating in multiple rows. So we may say it as a row level data. And each row is having different information here. Okay. So now what we will do is let's copy this data. Okay. Go to Excel sheet. So let's paste this data here. So without writing manually, let's copy and paste this data here. So let me do some formatting here. Okay. So now you see, so whatever the data we have in the data sources is called a row level data or non-aggregated data. Okay, now this is the row level data. And for example, assume that my college principal is want to analyze this student result information. Okay, so for example, assume that a class teacher is coming to your class and he's asking the Venkat that, okay, Venkat, how many marks you got actually? So what he will say? So Venkat is repeating in multiple rows, like he is repeating in 4 rows. So what is his total external marks? So just concentrate for now only on the external marks. Okay. So what is the answer is, as the Venkat is repeating in these 4 rows, right? So we have to see for 4 rows external marks for Venkat. And we have to do the summation of all these rows. So which is called aggregation. So 60 plus 70 plus 30 plus 60. So doing summation is one type of aggregation. Okay. So let's select all these 4 rows. Now what is the total marks here? 220. Okay. So when my class teacher is asking me what is your total marks, I am saying that my total marks is 220. Okay. And when the same class teacher is asking, Ravi, what is your total marks? So what he will do, what we will do in generally, we have to see in how many rows the Ravi is repeating. In the 2 rows Ravi is repeating actually. So I'll go to these 2 rows in the external marks and I will do the summation of 50 plus 55, which is summing up to 105. So Ravi will say, I got 105 marks. So similarly, Rajesh. Okay, so this is the type of analysis the class teacher will do actually. So Rajesh is repeating only in 1 row only. That is not a problem. 52. So here we are taking a sample data only. So if you go to real time, Venkat may repeat in multiple, so many rows like 1 lakh records or 2 lakhs records also in real time. If you go to Ravi, so just don't think about student data only. Just think about general data. In general, this person may repeat in multiple rows. We don't know in how many rows he will repeat. Okay, so similarly, we don't know in how many rows the Ravi will repeat actually. So whatever the data we have in the Excel file, that is a row level data. And my class teacher is analyzing this data. Okay, so what type of analysis he is doing is, what is your total marks for each student? What is the total marks for each student? So what I will do, if Venkat is telling that, okay, to get the total marks for Venkat, what I have to do, I have to go to database and I have to see in how many rows the Venkat is repeating. In 4 rows, right? So for these 4 rows only, I have to do the summation. Like it is summing up to 220. So like this is sum of marks. Okay. And this is a student name here. You see what is happening? In the data source, student is repeating in 4 rows. Venkat is repeating in 4 rows, but he is aggregated to single row actually. He is aggregated to single row. What is his total marks? 220. And Ravi is repeating in 2 rows, and he is aggregated to single row with total marks 105. And anyway, Rajesh is repeating in only 1 row only, but in my real time, he may repeat in so many rows, and his total marks is 52. So we are making each and every student to single row only, and we are showing the summation of total marks for that particular student here. So doing the summation is called aggregation. So what is the meaning of aggregation is, the Venkat is repeating in 4 rows, and we are making these 4 rows into single row with a total 220 marks. That is called aggregation. So aggregation means making multiple rows into single row is called aggregation. Or how we are achieving this aggregation means by doing the summation. By doing summation, we are aggregating multiple rows into single row here. Okay. Now just delete this data. Why? Because this is aggregated data. We have just shown for example only, but this is the original data which is coming from the data source or database. In this, for example only, we are considering Excel as a data source. But if you go for real time, the data source may be anything. maybe Excel file, maybe CSV files, maybe MySQL, SQL Server, Oracle database like BigQuery like that. Okay. So whatever the data we are getting from the data sources or databases is called non-aggregated data or row-level data or disaggregated data. Using Tableau, we will aggregate the non-aggregated data. Using Tableau, we will aggregate the data. And once we aggregate the data, we will visualize the data. What is the need of visualizing the data means? Or aggregating, what is the need of aggregating and visualizing the data means? We have to analyze the data. Okay, how many students got how many marks and how many students failed actually, how many students passed actually, like that. That type of analysis the class teacher will do actually. Okay, so let's save this Excel file here. So let me save it in my local system. So I'm saving it in my local system in some Excel file. So let's save this Excel file as like B30, like just sample data, like B30 data. Just save it as a B30 data. Just save it. Now you see in this Excel file how many sheets we have. We have sheet 1 and sheet 2. In the sheet 1 we have Amazon data information. In the sheet 2 we have our student information. Okay. Now what is the next thing is we have to connect this data from Tableau actually. Okay. Now go to Tableau here. Okay. Now go to Tableau. Now, whenever you open Tableau, actually, you will be seeing this type of screen here. So in this screen, I can connect to data sources. For example, if your data source is Microsoft Excel, you can simply click on the Microsoft Excel. If your data is CSV file, then we have to click on the text file actually. So CSV files are nothing but text files. So like JSON files, we can connect to Microsoft Access, we can connect. So for example, if your database, if your data existing in the databases, like for example, MySQL server or Oracle database like Amazon Redshift, you can simply click on these options. And for example, if you have your data in other database, like you can click on the more databases here. Now, when you click on the more databases, you can see this screen actually. In this screen, you can search for your database, or you can go to this search box and you can search for Oracle database or something like that. Okay, so we'll see a bit later how to connect to these databases. As of now, we have data in Excel. So simply click on the Microsoft Excel. Just click on the B30 data. Okay, just click on the B30 data. In this Excel file, we have our data. Okay, now let's click on open. Now you see when you click on when you connect to the Microsoft Excel, you see B30 is the under connections. You can see B30 data. This is our file name. The data source is Microsoft Excel, and under sheets I can see sheet 1 and sheet 2. And in which sheet I have student data. In sheet 2 I have student data. So in which sheet you have the data, you can drag that sheet into this joining area, this drag tables here area. Just drag the data here, sheet 2. Now you see when you drag the sheet to here, what the Tableau will do is Tableau will show the data which is existing in the sheet 2 only here. Okay, so you see this is the row level data. So just remember, so this is the row level data which is coming from the data sources. Okay, so if you drag sheet 1 here, you can see the data in the sheet 2, sheet 1. So whatever the sheet you will drag here, you will see the data in that sheet here. Okay, so where you can see the row level data in Tableau means, so when if you drag the sheet 2 here, I can see the sheet 2 row level data here. So this is the row level data. You see Venkat is repeating in multiple rows, Ravi is repeating in multiple rows like that. Okay, now in Excel file we have sheet 1 and sheet 2, right? So in Tableau also we have a concept like sheet 1. So Excel sheets are different and Tableau sheets are different actually. In Tableau, we have a concept called sheets actually. So I can simply click on the sheet here. Now you see when I go to this Tableau sheet here, on the left side I can see the data here, which is called data pane. Okay, which is called data pane. So let's forget about this thing as of now. On the left side I can see data here. And here I can see column names. So pass fail column name, student name, it is a column name, subject is a column name, external marks, internal marks 1, internal marks 2, student roll number. So all these are columns. Whatever the columns we have in the Excel file, all those columns will appear here. Now I want to aggregate the total marks by student wise. So simply drag the external marks into text here. Tableau automatically do the aggregation here. When you drag it into text here, Tableau automatically will do the summation here. So what the Tableau will do means, once you drag any field into the Tableau sheet here, Tableau will automatically do the aggregation using summation function. Okay. So how it is doing summation means, we are dragging the external sheets, right? We are dragging the external marks column right here. So in the external marks column, we have how many rows we have. For example, assume that we have 10 rows. So what the Tableau will do is, Tableau will do the summation of all those 10 rows actually. Okay. If I go for Excel here, for example, in the external marks column, I have these many rows. So Tableau will do the summation of all rows here. So that is called aggregation. So Tableau automatically do the aggregation whenever you drag a particular column into the text here. Okay. Now I want to find out the total marks for each student. So this 377 is a total marks. If you want to aggregate the marks for each student, simply drag the student name into row shelf here. Now you see, I can see, now see, Venkat is aggregated to a single row with his total marks. Ravi is aggregated to a single row with his total marks. Raj is aggregated to a single row with his total marks here. So this is called aggregation. So in Tableau, how to do the aggregation means a simple answer. Whatever, if you want to do the aggregation, simply drag that column into sheet here. Sheet in the sense, maybe text column, text shelf, or row shelf, or column shelf. Okay. Now this is one type. So what I told you aggregation means, each and every value, like Venkat is aggregated to single row, Ravi is aggregated to single row, Rajesh is aggregated to single row. If I drag the student name here, each student is aggregated to single row. Okay. For example, if I drag the subject also into the row shelf here, for example, after the student name, you see, whenever you see this orange color tick mark, right, then we have to drop our column here. Okay. So when you drag the subject into the student, after student name into the row shelf, now you see, for each student, I will see subjects, all subjects. For Venkat is having 3 subjects. You see, very important for us to understand here. For Venkat, how many subjects we have? S1, S2, S3. Okay, 3 subjects only we have. But if you go to row level data here, you see Venkat is repeating in 4 rows actually. Okay. What is the 4th row here? What is the 3rd row here? S3 subject. 4th row here, S3 subject only. So S3 is repeating in 2 rows actually. Okay. S3 is repeating in 2 rows. What is the total marks for S3 here? For example, 30 plus 60. What is the total marks? 90 here. So Tableau automatically aggregates each and every value to a single row actually. So Venkat is having subject S3, but S3 is repeating in 2 rows here. Okay. But if you go to Tableau, you see S3 is repeated only, sorry, S3 is repeated only one time. For Venkat, S3 is repeated only one time here. Why? Because Tableau automatically aggregates each and every value into a single row only. Okay. So in Tableau, we have a concept called dimensions and measures here. But you see, Venkat is a text field here. Text cannot be summed up, right? We cannot do the summation of a text here. So S3 plus S3, we cannot do like this, right? S3 plus S3, we can't do here. So as the S3 is the subject here, it is repeating only one time here. S3 is repeating only one time. So Venkat and S3 combination is repeating only one time only. Like, and what is the, for this combination, what is the total marks here? 90 here. So if you go to Excel file here, you see, for S3, S3 is repeating in 2 rows, right, for Venkat. So for these 2 rows, 30 plus 60, 90 marks. So any combination will repeat only one time only. Okay. And when come to external marks, it will be summed up actually. So 60 plus 30 plus 60, it will be 90 actually. Okay. So any combination will repeat only one time only. And there we have marks, right? Those marks will be aggregated to single row, like doing with the help of summation. Okay. Not only this one, you take any combination, Rajesh and S2 will repeat only time. Ravi and S1 will repeat only one time only. Ravi and S2 will repeat only one time only. In database, assume that Ravi and S1 combination is repeating. Okay, let's take this example. Venkat and S3 combination is repeating in 2 times, right? In the Excel file. But Tableau will repeat only it one time only. And for this combination, it will show the total marks here. So this is called aggregation. Okay, how we are getting this aggregation means each and every value will be repeated only in a single row, and the corresponding marks will be aggregated to single row with the help of sum function. Okay, so here we have a concept in Tableau. We have a concept called dimensions and measures actually. So you see, if you see here, pass is appearing in blue color. Okay, subject is appearing in blue color. Student name is appearing in blue color. So whatever, okay, so in Tableau we have a concept called dimensions and measures actually. Okay, in Tableau we have a concept called dimensions. Okay, let me tell you. Okay, in Tableau we have a concept called dimensions and measures. So we will discuss this about bit later in the next video. Okay, but this is why do we use Tableau means for this purpose we will use Tableau. Okay, now once we aggregate the data, the next part is you have to visualize the data. So as of now, I'm simply telling you, once I aggregate this data, I can go to top right side here, and we have show me option here. Just click on the show me option. In the show me option, we have different visualizations are available. So I can click on bar chart. It will generate bar chart. When I click on pie chart, it will generate pie chart. If I go for highlight table, it will generate highlight tables. So like that. So once you aggregate the data, we can visualize the data using different visualizations for analysis purpose. Okay. Okay. So this is about this video. A simple thing I want to tell you one more time. Just to go to text table. If you want to go to text table, just click on this first option. So when click on this symbol, I can see the aggregated data in text format. So okay. Now you see, for example, I'm just telling you one simple example. This is the last thing. See, Venkat is repeating in 4 rows, but he is aggregated to single row with his total marks. Now the user is asking me that I want to see the row level data. So whatever the data you will see in the sheet here, that is aggregated data. But I have my principal is asking me that what is your row level data? I want to see his row level data. So what the simple question, simple answer is click on the Venkat here. Just go to these dots here. Now, first I will see a summary tab here. In summary tab, whatever I have selected, I can see that only here. But if you want to see the full data or row level data, you can go to full data button here. Now it will show you the full data of Venkat here. So Venkat is repeating in 4 rows. I can see those 4 rows here with his external marks. If you want to see the subject information also, go to this show fields option, and from this show fields option, I can select subject here. Now you can see subject also here. So whatever the data I will see in the sheet is a aggregated data. If you want to see the row level data, if the user is asking to show the row level data, you can tell this option. In this way, you can see the row level data. Okay. If you want to see the row level data for Ravi, you can click on the Ravi here, go to these dots here, view data option, and I can see the go to full data here. I can see the full data for Ravi here. Okay, like you can download this data also using this download button. Okay, so I don't want to make videos more than 30 minutes, but it is around 30 to 35 minutes. We'll meet in the next video with some different concept like dimensions versus measures. Okay, bye everyone. Thank you.